Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Brother Sister Show, a family owned and operated podcast where two siblings keep in touch by talking about movies. This week, we're going special for our 50th episode, and we're talking about Livia's pick, Fractured. But before we get into that, what's up, Livia? How are you?
I'm good. I didn't realize it was our 50th.
It is our 50th, and I don't want to jinx it, but we're close to 1,500 downloads.
What was the last milestone? 1,000?
Yeah, I think I posted 1,250, but I was like, that's such a weird number. Let me just wait until 500 or 1,500.
When was 1,000? I felt like that was recent.
That was a while ago.
Oh,
I can't even remember.
well, that's cool. That's exciting. Maybe this will push us over. This new episode.
Hopefully.
But yeah, I'm good. I mean, I always have breathing problems, but this week has just been like bad. Like I just can't breathe through my nose. I'm a mouth breather for the next week probably. But yeah, so that is like it's just annoying mostly. But I had kind of a lazy weekend. I didn't really do much. I didn't even watch really anything except I actually have a bone to pick with you, Anthony.
Oh, with me?
Yes.
Oh, what is it?
Why the fuck did you not tell me This Is Us was back?
Oh.
Who
I thought
you
you knew.
Do you think you are?
Well, if you were a real fan, I thought you would just know.
How would I know? I don't watch cable.
Neither do I, but I still knew.
How did you knew? How did you know? I had no clue. Does Dad even know? I forgot to text him.
Sure probably not. I knew because Kayla was talking about it with her coworkers, and she was like, "We gotta watch it. It comes out Tuesday." Did you end up watching it?
I did. So do you want to talk about it?
Yeah, Dad. If you haven't watched it yet, just
turn off the podcast.
Go watch it. The hour and a half.
Because it was fantastic. Episode. Oh yeah, it was like part 1 and part 2. It was basically like almost 2 hours, but honestly, it should have been longer because I loved it. That's all I watched, really. I just watch TikToks now. That's like my life.
Awesome.
Yeah. About a comforter. I'll send you a picture. It's yellow. It's so pretty.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yellow.
Mm-hmm. It's like velvety yellow.
Is it for like when you pee so you can't really tell?
Yeah. You found me out. No, I guess I think this is a life hack already, but I can't believe I never thought of it. But I got to Target and I knew I wanted to get a comforter or just like a new bedspread because my friend sent me this one bedspread or that's just like, yeah, it was like a kind of a mismatch one, but it looked so cute. And the bed had like 6 pillows on it. And I was like, what is stopping me from having 6 pillows? Why do I only have 2 like an idiot? Like I should have a bunch of pillows because I love to like, I know you do this too because me and you are just people that cannot breathe. So when we're sleeping, we basically have enough pillows to be sitting up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah, I was like, why do I not have more pillows? So that's when I decided, I'm going to get a new bedspread. And then I found a comforter that I really loved, but they only had it in twin / like twin XL and king. And I have a queen size bed. But I was like, you know what? Like I should get a king size comforter. But yeah, that's just my life hack.
Happy for you.
Thank you. I'll send you pictures. Or maybe in the Discord on Thursday.
Oh yeah, spooky season's up.
I know. We have to fill it with some sort of content.
I mean, we'll do a Christmas movie until Christmas.
That'll be you. I can't do that.
No, I will not do that. No, like starting now.
Maybe, I really liked doing that, so maybe I'll do like a version of that, but weekly.
Just do like a 12 Days of Christmas or something.
No, I don't want to do a Christmas one.
Oh.
Because I like scary movies. I don't. What am I gonna? I don't watch Christmas movies really.
Well, I forgot that I watched. Is that all you watched, and that's new?
Yeah.
I forgot that I watched a bunch of stuff. I had to write it down on post-it note. Post-it note. Post-it notes. I was asking Kayla, like, what did we watch? Because I didn't even remember. So we watched. This was like 2 weeks ago. We watched The Haunted Mansion. That's what it's called, I think.
Ooh.
The Eddie Murphy one.
Yeah.
What a bad movie. What a good bad movie. We also started a show called Teenage Bounty Hunters. I think it's on Netflix. I like it so far.
I've heard of it.
I'd start it. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
And then we I know. Well, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to
the listeners.
And we watched Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a classic. I mean, how do you not watch that?
Do you know what question I'm going to ask you?
It's both, okay?
Is it a Halloween or a Christmas movie?
It's both. Why does it have to be one or the other?
I just think it's very clearly a Christmas movie.
But it also can be a Halloween movie.
I don't think so.
It's in the title, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
Before Christmas. Christmas. Yeah, it's in the title, Christmas.
Halloween is before Christmas.
What? All right.
Halloween
never
is
mind.
before
Just
Christmas.
keep going.
The Nightmare Before Christmas. Halloween is a nightmare,
calendar,
and it's
not
before.
In the title. You can have a nightmare any day of the year. Keep going.
Whatever. That's a fantastic movie. My favorite Halloween/Christmas movie. And then like right before Halloween, we watched As Above, So Below.
Have you seen it before?
I had not, and I was like decently surprised. I didn't have any expectations going into it, and I was like, that was a movie. Like,
there's a few parts that scared me.
Yeah, there's a couple that scared me, like when they spoiler. Just want to give that.
Didn't it come out like 5 years ago?
Whatever. I just gotta preface it. I'd feel bad.
Yeah.
When they like go into hell, and there's like these monsters that come out of the wall. That's kind of scared me because their faces are kind of scary. Also, Kayla yelled really loud, so that scared me.
I barely remember. The only time I've seen that movie was in theaters, and that was like a long time ago.
I kind of really like the ending because they're in hell and everything's like upside down. So they exit through like a manhole cover.
Uh-huh.
And so that when they get out, they just like stand. There's like 3 of them left, and they just stand there and they're like they're just there after everyone else in their group had died. They're just there. And I kind of really like that ending. Like one of them just walks off. Like they all hug together, and one of them just like hands him his gear and he walks off. And then it cuts. Whatever. That was a movie. I liked it. Kind of.
Yeah, that's one of those movies that whenever I watched it, I don't remember liking it or just like having really an opinion on it. But I keep seeing TikToks of people being like, this is a really underrated movie. Maybe I should revisit.
I don't know, but like underrated. Like it's not that good.
Almost every TikTok I see of like underrated scary movies, it's on almost every single one.
I wouldn't put it there. It's definitely interesting. It's like some Harry Potter stuff with the Philosopher's Stone.
That was maybe that's what took me out of it. I was like, oh my god, a wizard. Okay.
Nicholas Flamel. Yeah, I mean,
one cool thing is I think they actually filmed in the real catacombs.
Yeah, the whole premise is kind of scary, just like the catacomb thing. I mean, the fact that it's real.
Yeah.
So that's kind of spooky.
What else did you watch?
That was all I had on my list. It's kind of movie news, not really, but season 4 of Rick and Morty came out on it's like now streaming. So after this and after I do some homework, I'm gonna watch that with Kayla.
Nice.
So that's in the future. That will happen. So that's the first ever. I don't think we've ever talked about that. Something
Rick and
that
Morty?
you will watch.
What?
Like I'm going to watch Rick and Morty after this. We always talk about like what we have seen, but never what we will.
Yeah.
besides like
I
the main
will
movie?
go on TikTok.
Disgusting.
I'm actually in the middle of an episode of the British Bake Off, so I'll probably finish that.
Lame.
Okay. It's very calming. It's not like Rick and Morty that's just yelling like 80% of the time.
That's all I want. I want all of my entertainment to just yell at me.
Interesting. Well, that'll be probably the most exciting thing to happen this week, right? Nothing going on.
Yeah, nothing else.
Oh my God. I'm so stressed.
Yeah, the state of America is just like, it just fills me with dread, honestly.
Yeah.
Go out and vote.
This is coming out Thursday.
I hope you voted. And
God, I hope we know who our president is. I just want to know.
We either have the same president, or the past president won't leave office. So
I don't know.
Man,
I don't think he's gonna do it.
I feel like I'm gonna listen back to this episode and be like, man, they were so filled with joy back then.
I don't know. I don't think.
It's at a weird time. Like, I'm like, it's like the peak of the semester. I have like so much work, and then it's just like, just the world is happening.
Yeah.
Like pandemic, everything. It's all hitting. So we'll see what happens.
I'm using a coping mechanism my therapist taught me to like think about all of the worst case scenarios and then ask myself if I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I think so.
That's kind of comforting.
Yeah. In the later, depending on what happens, we'll have to see. I'm at least immediately after, I'll be fine. Yeah. Like this week, I think it'll be okay.
Yeah, when this episode comes out, we'll be okay.
Yeah, and at least I think my thing is I just don't like not knowing what is happening. Because if I need to have an action plan to like just because I'll be okay doesn't mean other people will be okay. Because, there's a lot of people's rights that are being, just dangled in the air in front of them. So I just need an action plan to what I need to do to like help,
Right.
So at least by the time the episode is released, I can't say for sure everything will be okay, but at least we'll know what we have to do, is what I'll say.
Yeah.
That sounds like a threat. It's not. I'm just like, I just want to know like what is going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't know how much politics you want to talk about.
That's it. Well, I'm happy with because we're not in spooky season anymore, so I'm gonna pick something lighthearted for us to watch.
So it'll either be like building on top of joy, or it'll be just really weird to try to be happy.
It'll be some like extreme escapism,
like laughing through the tears kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, let's just cut to the break.
Speaking of dread, speaking of feeling dread throughout a time, let's go to a break and then talk about Fractured. A couple stops at a gas station where their 6-year-old daughter's arm is fractured. They hurry to a hospital, but something strange is going on in Fractured. Directed by Brad Anderson, written by Alan B. McElroy, starring Sam Worthington, Lily Rabe, and Lily Capri. Oh,
Lucy Capri.
Lucy Capri, my bad.
As for the monies, it cost money. It made some money. We don't know. Look it up. Critics gave it 6.4 out of 10 on IMDb, a 59% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 36% on Metacritic. Overall, not that good.
According to the other two, IMDb, I don't know. That's an anomaly. I need to look up like what the fuck is happening over there.
Yeah, it's just like
right.
They just say numbers.
It's literally just goes from 6 to 7. I've never seen it gone lower than that or higher than that.
Maybe they're
I
just
think,
like playing it safe. They're just like, we'll just give everyone within this range.
well, one
Whatever.
day when I remember, I'll look up their algorithm because I'm very confused and I'm curious, honestly. All right, now into Fractured. Do you want to get straight into it? It's always weird to get into these. I want to kind of say how I feel, but then I'm like, eh.
I don't know. Like, there's
You know what I'm just realizing?
what
I didn't look up the fun facts.
that there's no fun facts, bro.
Is there none?
I don't know. I'm just like, there's no fun facts. This is a pretty sad movie.
Yeah, I mean, I always look it up though. Oh, maybe on the side. If you look them up, Anthony, and then you find something interesting, then let me know.
Yeah,
On
I'll look
IMDb.
them up.
All right.
I mean, we can go straight into our thoughts. What do you think?
I didn't like it because it was pretty I went back and forth on what was happening. But it was pretty clear to me from a certain point what was gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, I liked going through the main character. Ray is his name, Ray Monroe. I liked going like kind of like diving into his psyche as the movie progressed, because there's certain things that you're like, why did he focus on that? Why is he like, why does like seeing it all play out, it was very interesting to me. So I liked that aspect. Overall movie, I was watched it while I was working, so I caught like a lot of it, but I wasn't like super interested, honestly. A lot of it kind of dragged out for me, I felt like.
Yeah. I mean, I'll get into it later probably. I think there were ways that it wasn't for me. I think there were ways that they could have made it better, in my opinion, like solely my opinion. But it's like the remnants. The most frustrating thing is when you see a movie and you can like kind of see how it could have changed to be better. Because if I see a movie I don't like, I want to like completely not like it. But if I see one that I'm like, fuck, they could have just done like two things differently, and I feel like it would have been a great movie.
Right.
But that's all contingent on what I think. I think it's okay. I don't know. But let's
Yeah.
get into it. Oh, sorry.
Well, there's two things I want to mention. I looked up the fun facts. There's only two. So one of them's only kind of interesting. None of them are interesting. The only one that's kind of interesting is because it's ties to another movie that we talked about on this podcast.
Yeah.
So this movie, which is made by Netflix, is one of the 4 films made by Netflix for Halloween 2019. And the other 3 are Rattlesnake, Eli, and In the Tall Grass. So Rattlesnake we talked about.
Interesting.
Episode something. I don't know. Go look at it.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I was going to mention.
Yeah.
Sorry, do you want to go?
Nah, nothing important.
Is it this movie gave me Unsane vibes like crazy.
Yeah.
And I felt like what Unsane lacked, this movie kind of had, and vice versa. I feel like a good mix of the two would have made both of these movies stronger. But don't get me wrong, I think Unsane is a better movie. I think both had aspects that could have complemented well with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right, now let's get into it. We first see a couple fighting in the car, and so it's Ray, and then I forgot his wife's name. Amy?
Jenna? Joanne.
Yeah, no, we'll say Joanne. And the thing I was thinking, because like they make it clear that whenever he's fighting with her, he's driving and it looks like he's going like 30 in what looks like should be a 50, right?
It is.
And I was like, there's no way I don't think I've ever fought somebody while I'm driving a car. I don't have the concentration for that. Like, he clearly doesn't either. But that already like made me mad. And then I'm just like stressed out because this guy, on top of like fighting with his wife, he's also just a bad driver in general. Like I said, he's going so fucking slow. And that is, honestly, that's like the most stressful part of the movie for me. Was his driving. And then now, I mean, it's not hilarious, but now it's like, now knowing that and saying that and like knowing what happens at the end, it's kind of funny. And one thing I hate, so it's the parents are fighting and there's a kid in the back, and they're coming back from Thanksgiving, and whenever they're going back, they're like fighting, like I said, and then the kid is like, I need to pee, but I need to pee like right now. And that is such an annoying thing about children. Is that
kids are annoying.
But that's like one of the things that I didn't realize until I saw this movie. Like, I feel like they do that all the time where they're like, I have to pee right now. When me as a normal person, if I'm on a road trip, I'll tell the driver, hey, I have to pee in like 30 minutes. So the next time we find some place, let's stop. And I know it's a child, I know, but like, be better.
Kids aren't considerate. Kids are not considerate.
I need to pee right now. Like you, that little shit knew she had to pee like 20 minutes ago.
That's like so childish. Get over it, man.
All right. And so everything starts to go downhill when they go to the gas station, they go to the restroom, and I don't know what the fuck is happening. Like, I saw this today and I already forgot what happened, but
yeah, me too.
There's either way, there's like a trope I see all the time in movies where the parent is doing something, and I'm sure this happens in real life, but the parent is doing something and then the kid decides to just wander off into like the scariest like area of where they are. And so she sees a balloon, a get well soon balloon. And then when she's walking towards it, which first of all, it's like so far away, there's clearly a ditch between her and the balloon. So what is her plan?
This kid is so stupid. This kid is so stupid.
All right. So and then of course, like to make everything worse, at first I was like, you know what, maybe she's not that dumb. She's just walking towards it to see it. Like I thought she was going to walk into the ditch, but she doesn't. But a dog appears out of nowhere and it starts like going towards the girl. And she's, first of all, like a real child would actually start yelling. Like she's like, Dad. She's like this. Dad, please, can you come count me, please? I need help, and maybe she's scared. I don't know. We need to stop roasting this child. But so the kid then the dad finally turns the fuck around and sees what's happening. Oh, and there's a bunch of stuff I just forgot. But we can tell that he's an alcoholic because he buys some liquor and then he puts it. They have a smart way of like showing us that instead of buying batteries for her toy, he buys liquor instead and puts it in a coffee cup.
Yeah, that was one thing I wanted to mention is like, I really, really like the way that they showed that he didn't buy the batteries for the stupid kid.
Yeah.
Like that, Same. I felt like it was really, really smart. That's
when I had faith in this movie. But then soon I lost it. All right, so then the dog is like going towards the kid and he's trying to save her. And so he throws a rock at the dog.
Obviously.
As you do. And then, which, I don't know. I don't know a dog that is like going to attack a child that wouldn't just automatically do it, you know? Like, why is it just going towards her like so slow? I don't know. This whole scenario just seems unlikely. But, so then she keeps walking back. The dad doesn't tell her anything. It's like he wants it to happen. He doesn't warn her like, hey, there's a ditch behind you. Stop fucking walking.
No, he does. He does kinda.
Yeah, I mean, I guess. Let's not, I don't know. Either way, everything bad is happening at once. So she falls back and then he like lunges towards her. And what I thought was going to happen is I thought he was going to land on her and kill her. Because that's what it looked like. But is that not what it looked like? It looked like he jumped right on top of her. Of course he didn't. Like she landed on the floor and then he landed like right next to her. And then there's like a weird moment where he's like super quiet and he's just like looking at her on the floor. And I don't know if she's like, I think she's still unconscious, but then the wife who is like in the restroom looking for something, she runs up to them and she's like comforting the kid and she's like hitting the guy trying to tell him to do something, and he's just like staring at her like, I don't know what to do.
I mean, honestly, that's probably what I do. Kayla gets mad at me because like if I accidentally hit her or something, I say that sounds super weird, but like if I accidentally like nudge into her or I don't know, if she gets injured, regardless of if it's me or not, I'm just like staring at her. I'm like, are you okay? Are you okay? I don't know what to do.
I mean, your daughter just fell from like a really high place.
Okay, yeah. I'm not saying they're analogous, but like,
just stare at her.
I understand what the man's going through. He's just like,
I don't. I was like, what is he doing? Anyway.
I hate the slow-mo shot of him like diving for her because they use it later in the movie.
Yeah.
For something else. But
and then when I paused the movie, they had it as like the image.
Oh my gosh, that's so stupid. I hate that.
But yeah, that was all weird. And then the wife is like saying something to him and he just pushes her. And okay, and this is the exact moment, and I wrote it down. Like, I didn't edit these notes. This is the moment that I sort of predicted what was happening.
Okay.
So I feel like they make it clear in this moment to me, they make it clear that the girl is dead and that when he pushed the wife, he pushed her into that metal. That's exactly what I wrote.
Okay.
And so I was like, I was pretty sure that was going to happen, especially because they made... it kind of annoyed me too, because I don't know why they made such a big deal about showing the metal. They made him look at it. I hate when movies do that, when they like you just having it in the setting is enough. You don't have to like have like 5 shots having that as the focal point.
Right, where he's just staring at it and it's like up close and it's like a shaky cam.
Yeah, it just made me so annoyed because I was like, you already ruined this movie for me. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so that was my prediction. And then so after this, they like rush to the hospital and I put, so he does know how to drive over 30. Okay, cool. And he also is still a bad driver. Like he almost kills all of them. And then, well, I won't skip to that. And then I just said like everybody in this movie is acting so like suspicious, and especially the lady at the front where she has like this crazy look on her face. And I honestly don't blame him. At least in this moment in time, I'll try not to jump forward, but I don't blame him into thinking everything is suspicious because it's just so like. I think just the lighting and the way they're talking, they have like a weird look on their face, like a weird smile. I just don't trust anybody. And
definitely.
And then I made a note where I feel like I figured out what happened in this movie, and I was kind of upset because it was so quick. And I had a lot of faith in this movie because a bunch of people were like telling me to watch it. I mean, on TikTok, not like personally telling me, but yeah, it just was so annoying where I was like, fuck, I figured it out and I'm so annoyed. Right. Especially because it was so clear. Like there's some movies where if I just turn my brain off, I feel like I can just like enjoy it. But this one, I feel the filmmakers like really wanted me to see every single hint and figure it out. And so I had no choice whether I could like just ignore it or not.
Yeah, but I'm just dumb because I didn't put anything together until like maybe towards the middle where I was like, okay, maybe this isn't real.
Maybe you're dumb. Maybe I just have seen too many movies. I don't know. I will say, I think I get towards the end, I start to question myself a little bit and I'm like, oh, maybe it's not what I think it is. So I don't know. Anyway, so then we find out that he is a recovering alcoholic, which we can tell, but he like says it, and that he was married before, which we didn't know.
Right.
And then I was so sure that this whole time they were dead, but then I was like, oh, but like this is when I start to question it, because you could see the nurse clearly, like once he goes into the insurance place, they are not talking to the wife and child, and I was like, oh, this is so obvious. Like, she not once does she address the wife or look at her, and I was like, fuck, like this is so obvious. And everybody is like looking weirdly at him, and I'm like, well, he's talking to himself. I don't know, it just all points to that. But the thing that made me question it is when they go back and the nurse is talking to the child and the mom, and she's addressing them, and I'm like, oh, hold up. What's going on?
Alive.
Yeah, and I was like, well, maybe they aren't dead. And then the doctor says the girl's arm is fractured and that she might have some damage in her head because she hit it so hard, so they have to do a CAT scan. Yeah, so then they have this weird, I don't know if this is actually a rule, but they tell him when they go to the CAT scan, they're like, we only can have one visitor, so only the mom can go. And he's like, fine, I'll just wait in the waiting room. And then he's waiting there for a while. And after a long time, he goes up to the like desk, and it's a different lady, and he's like trying to get more information, and she's like, well, we just had a shift change, so everybody that you talk to is not here anymore, so I don't know what you're talking about.
If that's how real hospitals work, that's the war system of all mankind.
I mean, because I don't think it is, and also we have to take into account that this is a small town.
Yeah, but even like, because he's like, well, I need to know where my wife and my kid are, right? And they went to this place. Like I signed in, and they're like, oh, let's check the clipboard. Oh, the clipboard it gets thrown out every shift. Like what?
No, she didn't say thrown out. She says they change it out.
Yeah, but the actual paper sign-in thing gets thrown out. What's like what? That doesn't make any sense. That kind of bothered me.
I mean, maybe this is just an expose on how the medical system works.
Maybe. That would make a lot more sense, actually.
All right. So the nurse finally tells him that she can't find anything about his daughter. And then he's like, well, call the CAT scan people. And so she does. And then she starts flirting with the guy, which is kind of annoying. And then they tell her that there's not only is his family not there, but there was only one CAT scan today, and it was like a 7-year-old man at 9 a.m. And so there's been no CAT scans for them.
Right.
All right. And so every now and then, and this is kind of a note that I forgot to put, but every now and then he looks outside, or he just like looks at different things that make everything look suspicious. And I think that they're trying to make it look suspicious. Like they're throwing stuff away. They're wheeling people in and out. And he like hears like conversations going on. But I don't know. I was like, this is kind of flimsy.
I don't know. I was kind of with him on this.
I guess, but it just looked like the way a hospital works. I mean, I don't hang out at hospitals all the time, but I'm sure they just throw shit away.
But the thing that got me was the questions that they asked him under the insurance things. Like, how long have you and your wife been together? Like, tell me about your old wife. All that weird stuff. That where I was like, something's happening. Something's happening.
Yeah. I mean, that is kind of suspicious. The whole insurance thing was kind of weird. But just other stuff, like I said, people coming in and out from ambulances, organ donor stuff, like that is something that I feel like is normal.
Right.
But I don't know. Anyway, so he then finally gets to talk to the doctor, which is a different doctor because, like I said, there was a shift change. And when he looks at the records, he says that he can see his record, but he doesn't see anything about his daughter. And then Ray spots the nurse from earlier, and he's like, she fucking saw me, like, ask her. And she says she recognizes him from earlier, but they only treated his head injury. And he gets pissed because he's like, y'all are fucking lying. And so they pepper spray him and then they sedate him.
Naturally.
Then they take him into an empty room to kind of just like subdue him, keep him in there so he won't like start just yelling while there's people in the hallway. And and then this idiot, so he's like about to knock out, and then he shoots himself with not one, not two, but 3 shots of adrenaline.
That's hardcore right there, man. That's baller.
I still don't understand the point of that. Well, I guess I get it, but like, I don't know. And I guess, well, that goes into my next thing. So I haven't researched something in a while. So I decided to do a little Wikipedia research about something I love in a movie or just in literature called an unreliable narrator. Have you heard of this, Anthony?
No, but I'm pretty intuitive. I can tell what that means.
All right. Well, you don't have to be intuitive anymore because I'll tell you. An unreliable narrator is a narrator whose credibility is compromised. They can be found in fiction and film and range from children to mature characters. The term was coined in 1961 by Wayne C. Booth in The Rhetoric of Fiction. When unreliable narrators are almost by while unreliable narrators are almost by definition first-person narrators, arguments have been made for the existence of unreliable second and third-person narrators, especially within the context of film and television, and sometimes in literature. And so I have some examples. So sometimes the narrator's unreliability is made immediately evident. For instance, a story may be opened with the narrator making a plainly false or delusional claim, or admitting to being severely mentally ill, or the story itself may have a frame in which the character or the narrator appears as the character with clues to the character's unreliability. And so I have like examples. So like from The Girl on the Train. Have you seen that movie or read that book?
No, never before.
So without any spoilers, the narrator or the character of the book that's telling the story, she has, I don't know what her mental illness is, but she's kind of like Ray, where she's an alcoholic. So a lot of her memories and like stories that she tells are super unreliable because we don't really know if they're true or not. And then one that nobody at me for this, but Fight Club is one example that I thought of. Yeah, I've never seen it, but from what I've heard. All right, so the next one is a more dramatic use of this device delays the revelation until near the story's end. In some cases, the reader discovers that in the foregoing narrative, the narrator concealed or greatly misinterpreted vital pieces of information. Such a twist ending forces readers to consider their point of view and experience of the story. So this is like in the show Fleabag, which I don't think you've seen, Anthony.
No.
Or in a movie, I think, from what I remember from the movie Atonement, it's kind of like this, where in both cases, there's a person telling the story that is lying directly to the audience, and you don't know until like the very end.
That's cool. I like that.
And the last one is, in some cases, the narrator's unreliability is never fully revealed, but only hinted at, leaving readers or viewers to wonder how much the narrator should be trusted and how the story should be interpreted. So the example I thought of for this one was American Psycho, which I also don't think you've seen.
No, I have no.
But I couldn't think of any other. I mean, if y'all think of any other examples of unreliable narratives, because like I said, is like one of my favorite ways to tell stories. I would love to know. But for American Psycho, it's kind of like they said, like it's a big debate whether it's about like, this is a movie from like the 90s, so I'm not spoiling anything, but it's a huge debate whether he actually killed people or whether he didn't. Even though he's the one telling the story, you don't know if he's exaggerating or if he actually did that, if he thought of doing it.
So like Big Fish?
Yes. Big Fish is another example. I didn't know where it fit, though, because at the end we find out that he was telling the truth.
Right.
Or do we? Or he was exaggerating. So I think that's like the second example.
Right.
But yeah. Interesting. So that's just a little aside about unreliable narrators. And there's a movie actually written by, or either written or produced by the people that did or that make This Is Us, called, I think it's called Life Itself. It's not good. At all.
With,
but I think
Oscar Isaac, right?
Oscar Isaac, yeah. But they talk about this, I guess not trope, but device. And the conversation they have is interesting, but the movie itself is not good. You should see it though, Anthony. It is very like
Mhm.
This Is Us kind of
Dramatic.
movie, but yeah. All right.
Well, I
So
want to
back
take it.
to the movie.
I
Yeah,
want to take another aside and
sure.
just say that the main character is from Clash of the Titans. He's Perseus.
Also from Avatar.
That we don't talk about that.
Okay.
We can get back to the movie. Let's go.
Now he will be Sam Worthington from Fractured for me. All right,
Sure.
so all right, so after he shoots himself up with a ton of adrenaline, he breaks out of the room and like it feels like nobody notices. Like there's glass everywhere, and he just walks through it and just
Everyone's just
about his day. That was just a weird moment. And then he sees the nurse from before. I don't know why this made me laugh, but he saw the nurse from before that helped them, but now he's a doctor. And I just love how that's like a huge thing.
Yeah. At this point, I'm thinking to myself, because like the whole thing that you're thinking about is because they kind of like make a whole deal about the insurance lady asking if the mom is really sure that the kid wants to be an organ donor or not. So you kind of can imply that they're like, harvesting
organs.
Yeah. And then at this point, I'm thinking to myself, like, specifically when the nurse previously turns into a doctor, I'm thinking to myself, like, that's so much effort to get one body's or that's like how many organs? Like a dozen, maybe. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's so much effort to put in for not that much a reward. And that's like so many people to go into this.
Do you know how much but do you know how much organs go for, Anthony?
I know, but like, I don't know. At this point, I'm like, I'm a little skeptical.
All right. Well,
just because like the effort, not like anything from the movie, but I'm just thinking about this Ponzi organ scheme to myself. I'm like, let's move on.
Like, well, let me see the numbers and then I'll think about it.
Yeah.
Right, so he breaks out and then he finds cops who decide to help him, and they're really like surprisingly helpful the whole time. But then they go into the hospital, talk to the doctor, and he's sticking with his story. He's like, I don't know what the fuck this guy's talking about. Mm-hmm. And I put, why are they not checking the security cameras? Why is that not the first thing you check? I mean, we get to it, but I was like, come on. Like, it's so simple. We don't get to it for a while, though. All right. And so after this, they call the doctor from the morning because, like we said, there was a shift change. So they call the guy. He's pissed when he comes in, which I would be too. I'd be like, why is this fucking nutcase yelling about some kid I never saw? Anyway, so he finally makes it to the hospital, and he sticks to everybody's story. He's like, yeah, I saw this guy, but he was by himself, and I looked at his head, and we wanted to give him a CAT scan, and he said no, and he left. So, like, I don't know what's going on. And then we also learn that his first wife died because I think the doctor said he kept mentioning his wife, Abby, which is not his wife's name. It's his first wife's name. And so everybody's like, okay, what the fuck is going on? Mm-hmm. And then when he mentions Abby, Ray like goes off to the side into his own little world and hears a car crash. And I'm like, okay, so she died from a car crash, but like, why is this relevant?
Right. I was so lost, man.
Then they finally look at the fucking cameras. I was like, yeah, of course. Like, this is a great plan. Why did they not do this first? But every single frame that they find that he's in, his family is out of frame, or where he says that his family is. And I was like, of fucking course.
Yeah. He's a little sus right now.
Yeah. And I, at this point, was like, I don't know.
I'm less on his side now. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. I'm also kind of annoyed. I'm like the doctor where I'm like, okay, I could be watching British Bake Off right now, but I have to figure out what the fuck this guy's yelling about. And then he tells them that they should go back to the gas station.
He has like a vision. That's
It's kind
weird.
of weird. I didn't like that at all.
He's like, come on, Ray, think about it. And then he like sees the lady. And he's like, oh, of course, we need to go see the lady who runs the gas station
Who
because
like just hated him for whatever reason.
Yeah, which didn't make any sense.
But honestly, same.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Oh, and he was like, yeah, she must have seen us. And I was like, you know what? This is a good idea. Let's do that. And then they go back to, I think the security guard or the doctor's like, hey, I have an idea. Come with me. So they go back to like the ward area where everybody's at, where he was at. And he finds his daughter's scarf. And I was like, okay, what is going on? Because that also could, I will say this movie did if I didn't guess what the ending was at the beginning, like if they didn't make that like super, super clear, I feel like I would have been like, okay, what is going on? And
yeah,
I mean, I am now, but I was kind of like, yeah, but it's going to go back to the beginning. I know it. There's no possible way, especially, I didn't even mention this, but my inkling of him pushing his wife into the metal was pretty much confirmed whenever they were in the waiting room and she was like, oh, my neck hurts.
Oh.
You didn't catch that?
No.
She kept touching her neck and she was like, oh, my neck hurts. And I was like, oh, that's
saying her head hurts.
It was her neck. Or her like her head or somewhere that later we see that's where he pushed her into. That's where the metal came into.
Right. And looking back, I think it makes so much more sense because, I mean, I'll just get into it now, whatever. Because after that, the events that took place where he created his own scenario, they weren't fighting anymore. Like they were laughing like how they used to be. Like that kind of like clicked afterwards. But if I was smarter, it would have clicked during.
Oh, that clicked instantly for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, there's no way. There's no fucking way if I would have left my husband with my kid and then I came back and she was on the fucking ground that I'd be like, yeah, let's have a great time at the ER right now. Who was laughing at the emergency room? Ugh, man. All right. And so at this point I had a new theory that popped into my head where I thought, so they haven't shown his new wife or his old wife, my bad. So my theory then was like, well, maybe that his new wife that we saw is actually his old wife.
Uh-huh.
And that he also, like the kid, I guess the kid did exist. I don't know. I just thought like maybe she died in the car accident and so did his daughter. And so he just like that they were they were just an illusion or something.
Oh.
Because you also, when they were at the gas station, I was trying to think back at this moment, like when they were at the gas station, were they together at all? Like when they went inside, and they weren't.
Right.
So even if like I thought they were going to go to the gas station and the lady was going to be like, he was by himself, you know? Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, maybe she died back then and maybe he's just having like this is the anniversary. I don't know. That's what my new theory was.
Gotcha.
So after this, they get him to talk to a counselor. She's asking him about his first wife because he keeps mentioning, or he mentioned her. And so she's like, this is important. And so he says that he was drunk because she put together, I think, that he was drunk and they got into a car accident. And then the counselor tells him that she believes him and she wants to go to the spot where the accident happened, or like the where she fell. Which I was like, great. Like, I agree. This is a great plan. I don't know why they didn't do this from the first place.
But I mean, from his perspective, she just wants to get him away from the hospital. Like in his mind.
I think too, but she also mentioned, oh yeah, I guess. Never mind. Yeah.
That's what I thought. I was like, she's in on it. She just wants to get him away from the hospital.
I don't know. I think... Well, you brought up a good... Okay, so let me go into like what my next note is, which is usually during moments like this, I like to ask myself, I pause the movie or I like just think about this. What do I want to happen right now? Like what would be the best way for this movie to end? And so I, at this moment, thought it would have been cool if it was true, if the hospital actually were the bad people.
Right.
So I think at this moment I would have liked that. But what do you think you would have wanted?
I definitely would have wanted the hospital to have been like these people who are harvesting freaking organs. But like I said, at this point, while I was watching, it didn't really make sense. The numbers didn't add up. You know, it's just like these doctors could be making way more money being actual doctors than like harvesting organs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it would have been cool if the hospital was in on it as well, but I don't know.
Or if
I'm
something
just
from like totally out of left field happened. I don't know.
right. Some like supernatural stuff. Maybe they're like sacrificing the. I don't know. Whatever. I think it would have been cool if it. But then again, it's kind of scary what actually is what happens, and I felt pretty like on edge while watching it. I mean, like I said, I was doing work, but I definitely was paying more attention because I was like flippity floppity. I didn't know what was happening. Like I wanted to get to the bottom of it, and that's one thing I will say. I think that Unsane lacked is Fractured made me flip more than Unsane did, and that was like my only critique with Unsane is I wish it wasn't so clear from the get-go. But I see how it was so clear for you. It didn't click for me, so I enjoyed it more because I was like, damn, I want to believe this counselor, but why does she want him to go so bad? Like, I don't know.
I will agree with even though I'm pretty sure from the very beginning what happened or how it was going to end. I did, like I said, I questioned myself a lot and I did flip flop a lot. And I did think about that while watching this because we watched Insane so recently where I was like, man, I think that's the only element Unsane needed to be like an amazing movie for like to me.
Right.
Was that element. And then in that case, the hospital was, like you said, the hospital was the bad guy. So that would have been so cool. But yeah, but who knows? All right. So then, all right. So they get to the gas station and nothing is there. But the dog does pick up the girl's scent. And they find the little compact that she left in the restroom, and they like start to move the snow because it's been snowing, and there was a ton of blood. And everybody's like, "All right, dude, did you kill them?"
Yeah.
All right. So as they try to arrest him, because he's like trying to figure out, I think he's having his little pep talk again, being like, "Ray, what did you do? What's happening?" Once they try to arrest him, he finally sees the dog from earlier, which to him confirms what happened was true, which I was like, how? But okay.
Well, because the counselor is trying to convince him that there was no dog, that the dog didn't exist, and he just threw the rock at the kid because he was so angry with her.
I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's very weird.
Yeah.
But after this, he forgets, they struggle, and then he gets one of the cops' guns. He threatens the counselor. He shoves them all into some like room. I don't know where they're at. He takes her ID and then he goes back to the hospital to get his family. And then we have like flashes, I think. Oh yeah, we have flashes of like his old wife or his first wife. And they show that she was pregnant, and they also show her. And so I was like, okay, my theory's wrong.
Right.
Because they finally show like what she looks like. And I thought that when they like were going to show her that it was going to be like I said, who we knew as the second wife, but I was completely wrong. And she was pregnant.
This is kind of like a really, really aside, but the guy who he talked to when he was like in the like maternity ward while he was looking at the kids, he kind of looked like the CEO of Twitter.
Okay, thank you for saying that, because it was driving me insane. I was like, who the fuck does this guy look like? And
He
that's
looked
exactly who.
yeah. I caught me like completely off guard.
No, I'm glad
But
you mentioned that because I was racking my brain when I was watching it. I was like, who the fuck does this guy look like?
yeah,
What if that is
Jack
him?
something.
You should. I think you can submit IMDb stuff. I should submit that. Did you know? All right. So he's trying when he goes to the maternity ward and he sees that's when he has like the flashback. And then he goes down to the lower level where he was convinced his wife and kid were. And then he gets caught by the guard from earlier. They get into a fight, which was actually a pretty good fight scene. I was surprised.
I liked the fight, and then he choked him out.
Yeah, and then he gets to the lower level because he needed a key, so he uses that guy's key. And then he finds the doctors that are about to operate. Well, he first finds patients that like he lifted up the blankets from them and they have like organs taken out, they have eyes taken out, like they just like look gross. And that was pretty morbid. I will say that did freak me out a little bit.
Kayla was doing work and I was watching it, and she like caught a glimpse of the dude who had like no chest cavity.
Yeah.
Like it was just empty, and she's like, ugh.
Yeah, it was gross. And then he finds the doctors that are about to operate on his daughter. And so he's freaking out. He like gets his daughter, he gets his wife. They're trying to leave, but everybody's like trying to attack him. And it does look suspicious. Like the insurance lady from before is now a nurse for some reason.
Yeah.
And then he shoots the oxygen that's there, and then he shoots again later when they're struggling, and so it causes like the whole place to just explode. And so he's trying to leave with his wife and daughter, and the doctor from before is trying to stop him, but then he shoots him, and the guy's like, that part made me laugh too, because the guy was just pissed. He was like, you asshole, you shot me.
Yeah, at this point I'm like, yeah, there's no way this is like real, because like this point I was like, yeah, there's no way, because like I said, there's not much in it for the people who would be involved. And I'm like, man, that must suck. Like you go through medical school, like all that hard work, and then you just like one day on the job, some dude
He gets shot in the knee.
he gets shot in the knee.
What a rough day. All right. So he gets them all out. He gets them into the car, and they're going. And he's driving. They finally escaped. I feel bad. I shouldn't laugh, but it's not real, so who cares? But there's a shot of like, the wife being like, "We did it," but her arm still hurts, so we gotta go. And then he looks, and we have like a look into the rearview mirror, and I thought they were going to show his dead wife, like holding the daughter for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I thought that. But the shot of him, like, of just a random kid in his back seat made me laugh so hard.
Yeah, that was rough.
Like, he just took some random guy. So then we start to flash back and see all of the like just shit that he made up. So like even when he got down there and they were wheeling around stuff, he hallucinated that they had organ donor boxes. Like that wasn't even real. The kid they were operating on was just some random kid that he stole. So I don't mean to laugh.
Yeah. It was rough.
And yeah, just everything he just hallucinated. Yeah, and so what really happened, then we go back and see what actually happened. So what really happened, the dog, it was real, right? Like the dog, everything happened from the beginning, like it showed you, except the daughter hit her head fucking hard and she basically just like died on impact.
Which like, of course she did. It was so high and she's so tiny. Like her skull isn't even like a thing, right? It's all gel.
Yeah. Oh, and like, and they show too, like how hard she hits the floor.
It
is hard. Yeah, I don't know how he thought she was alive.
Her head clapped that concrete.
Oh my God.
Sorry. Is it too much? Should I cut that out?
I want you to have Kayla listen to that and she'll be the judge. But I think
Okay.
maybe it's a movie. But so, and exactly what I said happened. Like the wife was hitting him not because, she was like trying to get him to do something. It's because he like, I mean, I guess she didn't know what happened, but she saw that her daughter was dead. And so she was like being, like hitting him and being like, do something because her fucking daughter is dead. And then he pushed her and she fell onto the metal, like right on her head.
The rebar, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And so he basically just like, they just show him putting his wife and daughter in the back seat, and they were in the back seat the whole time. That did freak me out a little bit, just the thought of him doing all of this and they were in the back seat the whole time, or in the trunk. That
I mean,
like kind of freaky.
There's a scene where he like similar to when he just stares at the rebar. He just like is in the hospital staring at the car. And in retrospect, he's just like he realizes without even knowing. And the whole thing is like the counselor is telling him that that he like our brain with traumatic events, it'll create another universe or create another timeline of events. And what we saw was the one that he created in his mind, the one that made him feel better and not
like he did something.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say I do feel bad. Like at the end of the day, I do feel bad, at least for what happened with his daughter. I can't imagine just, that happening. He tried to save her. There was a dog. You don't know if it's going to like harm her. And so I do feel bad that he like saw his daughter die. But then why would you push your wife? That was just so weird. The dog was real, right? I need to look back at the movie.
I think so.
But yeah, like I don't think he actually threw a rock at her. I think,
or maybe did they say he pushed her?
I don't think he did though. Fuck, I should have paid attention. I think I was like, oh, I knew, and then I just didn't watch. But I do like he did everything. Well, I don't know if he did everything right, but like from that moment of trying to protect his daughter, like he did do the right thing, but he just fucked it all up again. I will say, I guess another critique I have is I don't understand the whole first wife thing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's to push the counselor into like finally uncovering the truth.
But why does that matter? Because something traumatic right now happened.
I guess. I don't know.
And then what is the point of him being an alcoholic? Because like what she was saying, can't this happen to everybody? Why do we have to make it seem like alcoholics are the ones that only happen to this? Or that, whoa, that was a sentence. Why do they make it seem like this only happens to alcoholics? They are the only ones that make up shit in their head. Like, what was the point of him being an alcoholic and killing his first wife?
So they could really cool, in a cool way, reveal that he bought whiskey instead of battery.
I mean, kind of worth it, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't understand that. Really, I don't understand the point of that.
Yeah, it's an okay movie. Probably wouldn't ever watch it again, but I'm glad I watched it.
I will say, so what I think, God, I thought of this and I should have wrote it down somewhere, but I think there was a way to make this movie better. And I think what it could have been was to cut out the beginning and to have it start him going into the hospital.
Maybe.
Because instead, like, cut out the whole first wife thing. That I don't understand what the point of that was. And how I would have done it, which, not to say that this would be better, because I've never made a film, so I shouldn't, whatever. But how I would have done it, though. I'm still going to tell him how to do his job. It's not going to stop me. Is to cut out the whole first wife thing. Start the movie with him and his wife coming into the ER. Start it that way, and instead of flashing back and forth from the first accident, flashing back and forth from what happened.
Okay. That'd be cool.
Because
I don't think I would be as flip-floppity though about.
I think you would.
Maybe.
Because, or at the very least, maybe not as flip-floppy. Flippity-floppity, is that what you said? But,
yeah.
Which is, I think, a technical term in film. But,
extremely.
But maybe it wouldn't have made you do that, but it would have at least made you question everything. Like, it would have made you question, like, what happened. My whole thing is I just don't like at the very beginning, they make it so clear what was going to happen at the end.
Yeah.
And I wish they would have delayed that a little bit.
I could see that making this film a little stronger, but like I said,
at least make you question it more.
Yeah.
Or I would have went with the whole, like, his wife. He didn't actually have a second wife. His first wife was the one that, I don't know. You know, that whole storyline, I kind of was intrigued by that. But then I was like, oh, that's not true. That didn't happen. I just made that up. But then I was like, oh, but I wish I could have seen that. But yeah, I don't know.
I just appreciate the fact that it made me question myself and how I thought about the character so much.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad. No, this is going to sound condescending, but I'm glad that you had a good time watching it. That's not like I'm
glad you're dumb enough for that. I'm so glad.
God, I wish I could be stupid enough.
God, I would love to be so dumb.
Oh, what's your IQ? How can I get to that? But I truly mean that. Like, there's no way to say that doesn't sound condescending as fuck. But like, I'm glad at least one of us did like it.
Yeah.
That being said, be better.
Well, I will be better with this pick. I'm so excited.
I'm done with Fractured, so I will say I think it's a good, like, if you want to watch it during a movie night or you don't know what to watch, I think it's a fun watch. I think it had me questioning, even though I was like so clear as to what I thought it was going to happen. I still like had a good time trying to guess what was real and what wasn't. So
I still don't know if I'd recommend it because it's so long.
It was like an hour 40, Anthony.
Yeah.
All right. What are we watching next? I'm excited.
We are watching Nacho Libre.
Oh my God.
This comes from a recommendation from the boy Ricardo.
Oh my God.
I did him dirty with the Autopsy of Jane Doe. So he recommended Nacho Libre. It's on Netflix, so go watch it. Let's go laugh in tears.
Oh, that's a good. I should have. He has curly hair in that movie, right?
Yeah, he could have been him.
I always try to. If I'm gonna dress up as somebody, I want them to have curly hair, so I don't have to do anything with my hair.
That's smart. Esqueleto. Well, watch it, please. It's so funny. If you've never seen it before, please do yourself a favor.
Next year we should, if the world is open, I'll be Nacho, and then you could be what's the guy's name? The other guy.
Esqueleto.
Oh yeah, you could be him.
That's gonna get darker, like way darker.
Oh my God.
I am too pale.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, guys. Thanks for episode 50. Thanks for listening.
Oh yeah, thank you. Rate, review, and subscribe.
Follow us on Instagram at Brother Sister Show and Twitter at Bro Sis Show. I don't know where they're subscribing, but
on Apple or Spotify.
Spotify, it's a follow. So
subscribe
I don't know
on Apple, follow on Spotify.
Instagram at Brother Sister Show and Twitter at Bro Sis Show. One more time. That's it.
Leave us a rating. I didn't check this time, but I'll check next time. Leave us a rating and we'll read it. All right. See you next time.
Bye.